tracing series, I'm just going to show you a couple things that you can stack onto the foundation that I laid out in the first episode. One of them, a really simple one, is an around the head tracer. This feels, and if you already know the movement, a vertical tracer spinning counterclockwise to you in your right hand should come and bounce right behind your shoulder once, and then come or snake to the front side and land its last beat right at your feet. So it comes down like this. Now this isn't a tutorial on vertical tracing. I think Drex and Alien John could help you out there. They have had videos online for quite a while on them. As I talked about in the first episode, you can take these alignments that we've come to know and love and bend them. More and more I'm coming to realize that flowers are very malleable. You can change them, smush them, bend them. Very fun. So you don't have to start at the top. You can start over here on this side. All you need to know is that it comes from the front side. It's going to do a beat behind the shoulder, come to the front, and come down. So this is easily done by just kind of let it dangle for a second, drag it around to the back here, right at your back of your shoulder, snake it around, hit the bottom. This is something that Ted Petrosky likes to teach a lot in his body tracing classes. He'll do kind of numbers like this, 3-petaled flowers. So this is very reminiscent of that, if not the exact same thing. So you're taking your spin, back of the shoulder and down, right? Now that's the motion that has a familiar feeling to. You're not actually going to go and do that bottom pedal, although you can if you want to use that in your flow and use it to mix it up a bit. But for the sake of this particular head tracer that I'm adding on, we're not going to hit that bottom pedal. It's just going to trace around this side of the arm. So it's going to come back, around, and it's going to come under here, under your arm. Just like it would from the top of the shoulder, under the armpit, if you were doing the archer weave. It's going to come and basically make that same movement, but around your head. So it's kind of a quick motion. You have to really open up, make an opening with your arm to get your head through there. Okay? So practice that a few times. Try to drag your fingers along your arm. Drag them on, get your head through, drag your fingers around your neck, and straight to your armpit. This motion. This is part of why body tracing is so awesome. It is dead sexy. So let's try it with one poise spinning, or both poise spinning. We come trace, around, and down. Let it be sloppy for a bit if it's not coming naturally. Just kind of pendulum it if you need to. Pendulum, swing it around, down. When you get a feel for what's going to happen, now it's time to commit. Commit to it. Get your head through, tuck it under. Okay, let's do it again. Head through, tuck it under. Head through, tuck it under. Got it? Sweet. So now the other side. This is going to happen in exact reverse. So, as we're tracing out on the top of the arm, and we're coming down, or we're coming back towards our bodies in the armpit, this is where we're going to start the trace from. It's going to come from here, tracing down, around, and up. Around the bottom of the arm, around the neck, and the head, and back up. Okay? With one poise spinning, tracing poise spinning. Armpit, around the head, out. Armpit, around the head, out. Don't worry about your planes, just get your hand through the motion. Once you get your hand through the motion, and as long as your hand's doing what it's supposed to do, your poise should do the same thing, what it's supposed to do. But you just gotta train your hand to get that path. Once you do, commit to it, and the momentum should take care of everything. So, two-poi. Got a trace going on the head, out. On the head, out. Transition to the other side. around the head, around the head, transition to the other side, go through this a few times, and then start playing with throwing it in with different alignments. Come from up here, trace around, other side, around the head. Then mix it up as best as you can. Now I mentioned vertical tracers before, and I also mentioned that this isn't a vertical tracer tutorial. Not only does this next part include vertical tracers with 2 poi, it's also going to include in-spin versus anti-spin flowers, starting from here, hands and split opposite, which looks like this. Now this tutorial also is not going to be teaching this particular pattern. Hopefully you know it already. If you don't, I'm not really sure where there's a tutorial on it, but it's just a 2-pedal in-spin with the pedals at the side and a 4-pedal anti-spin, and they just meet on the sides. If anybody wants a tutorial on that, let me know, or ask somebody in this thread. Hopefully there'll be a link somewhere. I just don't know about one right now. Anyway, this next part is going to use both of those. As we're coming across from our flower from, like, say, this position, and we reach our vertical position, we have the opportunity to do a vertical tracer, right? Now we could continue with this flower pattern as we do that, but we're going to work on integrating this into our body tracing foundation that we're slowly building up, okay? So coming from a tracer to start our basic horizontal alignment, we're going to come across, and when we get here, you're going to reach that point where your arm's going to open up, right before you tuck back under with your non-native hand. At this point, you can bring it to here, do a vertical tracer. Now, instead of planting this bottom pedal at your feet, you can plant it behind on your non-native hip. Okay? So you're starting from the top, tracing down, landing behind you. Okay? This will set you up for going straight into your archer weave on this side. You'll trace up the body to your armpit. Looks like this. Trace up to the armpit, and then out. So I'm going to run through it real quick. Transition to the side. Open up, vertical tracer, plant it behind me, trace up and out. One more time. Oops. Hope you saw that okay. It's actually pretty versatile. It's using that part where you can open your hands up can be an interesting way to get in and out of these body tracing weaves. Just kind of break it up so it's not all hands planted on the body, and you can throw in some geometry in there with it at any point that you want, really. You can, I'll show you another one. There's another break apart point at the bottom and at the top. So if I'm doing a tracer down to here, at this point I can do anti-spin versus in-spin this way. Come up to the top and then come back into a tracer. At any point that I want to, I can just break it apart, come and do these vertical tracers. And the really useful thing about all of this is that it flows so nicely together. You don't have to memorize a whole lot, because if you're learning this, you already know the weave, you already know the archer weave, you probably already know the archer tracer, and you could probably even do the horizontal transition. So we're not really adding a whole lot to what you already know, which is good because it's not overloading. What's overloading is how much I talk. Crap. So anyway, what this brings us back to is when we first started spinning, when you first learned the weave and you had the butterfly, maybe you had a few anti-spin flowers and some stalls. You remember that comfort zone that you had where you'd always revert to your comfort zone. That was when you didn't really know what you were going to do next, you could just go to that and flow and then not have to think about it. That's what we need to create this foundation for. You have a foundation for body tracing, and it's very similar to the foundation that you started spinning with. So it should all be pretty intuitive. As you drill the different positions, aiming your bow in different directions, changing sides. Once that becomes comfortable and very intuitive, you will be able to just body trace all day and not really think about it. And that'll be your comfort zone. And then from time to time you can just throw in some interesting things that just breaks apart that comfort zone, so it makes it a little bit more interesting. And we'll get into more of that later, future episodes. So enjoy for now, and see you next time. Thank you.